The podcast giving you the stories and insights of the monsters of the world you won't find anywhere else. And now, giggity, 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 your host, Dustin and Mason Paul.
Okay, hang on, shut up for a second, hang on. Welcome to Monster Cast, the only monster truck podcast that matters. Well, there's also 3 other ones, but you get the best of the best here on Monster Cast. That was my attempt at trying to do the, what do you call it? My buddy just showed me that clip. Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to make up time here, I promise. But, welcome to Monster Cast. I'm your one of your hosts, Mason Paul, and along with me I have Dustin Hart. We were planning to do this episode on Sunday, but a few things came up, and our surprise coming back host for another episode here or there, Cam, couldn't make it. My Wi-Fi died, and everything kind of just went to hell. So I decided it'd be easier to move it back to Wednesday, and why not? And have our good friend Dustin come right back on. And I do remember what it was. It was from the Trapaholics, those guys that make all those cool those intros to rap videos. My buddy Austin sent me a clip, and he's like, dude, you have to try to do that. And I tried doing the voice, and they always it's kind of goes along the lines. It's like real trap shit, kind of like that. But I'm still trying to work with trying to get my voice to go deeper than it really should. It's going to be all over, through time. I'll probably get it, but
this will definitely get turned into a meme in time, and I really appreciate that, as you've turned plenty of others, including myself, into memes. So glad to have you. It was really cool with the Lenny Kravitz look you had there. That was an excellent choice. You got to go for the movie theater voice guy, too. In a world where Mason Paul co-hosts a podcast with Jesus and Cam, it is the Monster Cast. You got to go with a little something like that. Or you just default to monster truck announcer guy. You do your best, Scott Heaton, cheer him on. Sorry, that's my favorite Scott Heatonism.
But all right, while we go ahead, and I see our guest is about ready here. I know you actually had some shows you got to go back to and come back to. Probably the next closest thing to Monster Jam right now. They actually came back, Monster Truck Throwdown. I love watching their shows because that's basically the independent version of the big stuff. So I know you got to go to both those shows. So why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
Dude, what an awesome weekend. Big shout out to Elliot Miller for welcoming me aboard and having me come out and be a media dork for the weekend. Really excited to have been able to go out there, kind of scratch the itch. My last event was Jacksonville on February 29th. This is the longest I've gone without monster trucks in a really, really long time. So super stoked to have been able to be a part of it. So many great people to, get to interact with and see, a lot of good friends, on the event operations side, of course, Elliot Miller, my old pal, Patrick, AKA Travis Sawillo, Jason Griskowski, Brian Manson, they all worked really hard, put together a fantastic event. Got to see a number of good friends, behind the wheel. Cole Venard, one of my local homies down here. I know he's originally from South Dakota, but, he's been living down here for quite a while. So it was really cool for him to get to perform in front of his hometown or home state fans, if you will. It's the closest show he's ever had to his actual hometown of Murdo, South Dakota. So really cool for him. Got to see our boy Too Tall, David Olfert, driving Kamikaze this past weekend. First time I've gotten to see David run the truck. First time I've got to see him drive in person. He was on it all night long. Really just a fantastic outing from him. Some cool bicycles out of the skills competition, or best trick as Elliot was calling it. Racing, really fun track. It was a really long, blown up kind of Chicago style course with 3 jumps in each straight line. So really cool track there. Finals came down to Too Tall and Jimmy Cretin. Really close race. Probably one of the most fun races I've seen all year long. Yeah, Too Tall was able to just eke out the win. You got to check out the photo from Danny Moss Studios, Monster Blog. He was there shooting as well as myself. Danny got a great shot from dead on the finish line. Too Tall just narrowly pulling that out. Looking forward to seeing some of the footage from Colby Marshall as well coming from that event. Freestyle-wise, fantastic stuff. Throwdown always puts out some cool, unique obstacles. Little John Zimmer Jr., awesome showing from him. Only his second event out in terminal velocity. Really kicked ass. Got his first rollover out of the way. Tried to do a cross thread over the Jackrabbit. At least it worked. At least it was a kind of cool looking rollover and wasn't a totally lame one. So he had nothing to hang his head on there. Dawson Reyes, my first time ever seeing Dawson run. Dawson did a great job. I mean, that he was driving Rockwell Red. Truck works really well. He went out there, really ran strong. Got a strong truck underneath of him. For me being an East Coast guy, I never got a chance to ever see Dawson. So cool to meet him. Awesome dude. He did a great job. Really knows how to drive the truck without tearing up equipment, stuff like that. So kudos to Dawson. Jimmy Cretin had a strong performance overall. Fantastic in racing. Really put it down. Colvinard, again, as I said earlier, just home state. He's got to go hard. So he had an early rollover in the best trick competition, but kind of bounced back. Few body panels missing, but rocked it out in freestyle. Really killed it. Toodles was so much fun to watch. He was really getting after it. Tried to do that cross thread over the bus. If anybody's seen it, didn't work out so well. So he got that rollover out of the way in Kamikaze. But all in all, man, just a fantastic event there. And then if that wasn't long-winded enough, did the overnight drive to Illinois with Elliot and Grizz, Maple Park Speedway, D. Radloff's backyard. Awesome show. You're giggling too much for me, so I'm definitely rambling a ton. But
no, you can finish up here. I know Buddy's ready. I can see Jack and a few of his other friends in the back, so I'll go ahead and let you finish up before we put him back on. I just want to say, Jack, I can see him in the back, and I just have to say, Jack, I love your dance moves. Those were on point. I wish it was live, but we're just finishing up here. But I'll go ahead and let Dustin go, and we'll get ready to bring.
Imagine that the Raising Cane gang up to shenanigans. I would have never thought in my life. So, anywho, Maple Park, awesome show at Sycamore Speedway. D. Radloff's backyard, shout out to D. Also, plenty of great folks there working that event. Matt Looker, Todd Maddock, Frank the Tank, Werner the homie. Who else am I forgetting in there? But another fantastic event. Another unique lineup. Zach Garner, Wildside, was killing it for the most part in the afternoon. Fun time when the best trick competition and racing, he was on rails. Unfortunately, front steering pump crapped out on him in freestyle, cut his efforts short. Chris Kohler went full send in freestyle. If anybody gets a chance to check out new footage from that, pretty awesome run from him. Jim was rocking the old Avenger and the S10 body. Had a pretty good showing from him. Fought a little bit of issues with the truck, whether it was some engine issues to steering issues to what have you throughout the event, but Jim, fought through it, put on a good showing. Chubbs Chandler driving Dirt Crew, full send as well. Probably a little bit more than he intended, but it was definitely a wow moment when he went full send over the bus. That was pretty exciting. Little John got thrown into the mix after Jamie Garner's motor and overboard suffered some damage from the Saturday night show. He got thrown into the mix, put on a pretty good performance of his own, finding his place with it. He's getting better every time he's behind the wheel of the truck. He really does look like a natural. So shout out to Jonathan. You're killing it, dude. Keep after it. Reckless driving, our boy Jeremy Hossman. Dude's been rocking it with that old school chassis. He pulled off a racing win Saturday night. If anybody didn't see that, you don't really expect that out of that old piece of iron, but Jeremy got after it, pulled off a win there, had another respectable, strong showing Sunday afternoon. So really cool to get to be a part of both of those events. It was the first time ever doing that big of a changeover between events, going that far. I think it was a 500-something mile drive in between events. And for me, that's not the norm. So Really cool to be a part of both events. Really excited to have gotten to be a part of some events after such a long layoff, and always enjoy hanging out with the Throwdown homies.
Oh yeah, that was a nice little recap, but definitely of the Throwdown weekend for you, Dustin. And before we go ahead and bring Buddy on, I know last week with the voicemail issue, I don't know why, but people are saying the phone number went to a pizza place in my hometown, which was a big mistake. So while we're actually live now, I'm not going to bring that up. I'll go ahead and just show you my phone number right now. It is 619-421-2280. Go ahead and if it wants to focus, yeah, you can go ahead and copy that number and give me a call. I'll still be taking voicemails throughout this entire episode, and we'll see what we get at the end here. But with that all said and done, let's go ahead and get Buddy Thompkins on the podcast. There he is.
What's going on, Mr. Thompkins?
Guys, just
Not too much here, man.
it's been a long day. We had to get 4 trucks on display, so I was running a little behind this afternoon, getting them all picked back up. But I made it.
Well, we're very glad to have you join us here. Join us for all kinds of monster truck nerdery. So you probably heard a little bit of my busy weekend. How have things been for you aside from just getting the trucks on display?
It's been fine. We've been laid back, with all this COVID stuff going on. Stuff's been a little weird. Booking shows canceling. So we've just been thankful to get the ones that we got. Today we're in Columbia, Tennessee, getting ready to do a show tomorrow night for Dave Reif at MTRL. Then we got to drive over to Poplar Bluff, Missouri to do one Friday night and Saturday night as well. But other than that, it's been normal routine maintenance on the trucks, plenty of shop work going on, lots of fabrication on custom builds with side-by-sides and stereo roofs. And Jared McNeil's got a 77 Dodge truck that we're doing all custom stuff on. So we've been having fun with all that good activities back home.
I got you, man. I'd heard a little bit about JR's plans with that 77. I was on his first quarter tour with Exterminator. Got to see you briefly in Tampa before everything kind of went south there. But really cool to see all the stuff that you guys are working on down there, all the projects that you've got going on.
Yeah, we a pretty diverse group of guys there at the shop. And, we got a bunch of new machines there with the new water jet and our plasma table and our Vintech Dragon machine, where we've advanced quite a bit in the last couple months. Opened a lot of new doors and avenues for us to reach out to people and do lots of custom work. So thankful for that with everything going on. Like I said, we got more work lined up than we know what to do with right now. So super blessed for that and just having fun with it all.
So speaking of having fun, I guess kind of one of the easy questions that we always want to ask is to kind of get everybody's background and how they get involved in this goofy, fun world that we're a part of. So how exactly did you get your start with monsters? Because I usually know a little bit of everybody's backgrounds, but to be completely honest, I don't know a ton on yours. I just know that you started out with JR, but how did you end up getting involved? How did you link up and eventually find yourself behind the wheel?
I've always done motorsport stuff. I grew up drag racing with my father throughout the years. Got into drag racing motorcycles. Never really liked being trapped inside a race car when I was younger. But, as I got older, I got wiser, got off the motorcycle stuff, and just kind of ran into JR back hometown where I live. And he needed kind of a hand. He was in a pinch for time trying to get ready for first quarter crunch. As you guys know, it's always a mad rush at the end of the year trying to get all the trucks ready and stuff. met him, talked to him. He offered me a job like the first night. I was straight up with him and told him I probably wasn't ever interested in it. Just kept contact with him, and one thing led to the next. Here I am. Now I can't get away from it. I love it.
It's kind of crazy how that sickness, kind of gets into us. Some of us it roots in young, like Mason and myself, and then others kind of just find their way dropped into it. It's funny though. Once you catch the bug, man, it is hard to get away. I know for the last 5 months or so, it's been kind of like the weirdest time for me, because this is the longest I've gone without events up until this past weekend. For yourself, I know you've kind of been in and out, kind of out of the driver's seat for a little bit, kind of stepping away, evaluating some things, doing some pinch-in, driving for other teams, and then kind of find yourself back more into a full-time role. What's it been like this year with kind of having as much downtime this year, whether it was by choice or not by choice in one case you had this year?
Over the years, I kind of stepped away from doing it full-time. And I was just filling in, as you said, with different teams, lots of great experiences. But, you always find yourself back at home where you feel most comfortable at. And I got some special guests here. Aaron
Special
Baker.
Indeed.
Yeah. You always find yourself back at home where you're most comfortable, and had the opportunity to do some things with JR again. Unfortunately, beginning of the year when I filled in with the exterminator truck in Tampa, had an unfortunate accident, had a little injury, but I'm back better than ever, healed up, and out here having fun and raising Cane again.
It's one thing we're all glad to see, that's for sure.
There we go. Well, one thing I was wanting to kind of highlight on for like a little bit, since I think it was about last year when I was, summer of last year, you had a mix being in doing a show for us or helping us out in a pinch hit, kind of taking over from Megalodon. And I know you've been along with Stone Crusher and Bigfoot for a couple of shows. Kind of talk about how the transition between teams, is there like a big difference from switching from truck to truck, or is it not much of a difference for you?
I mean, there's always differences between how teams run. Everybody has their separate ways of doing things. For the most part, all the trucks handle the same. I say that. I mean, they're all based upon the same basic stuff. Every truck is set up different as shock-wise. I've been fortunate enough to drive some really great landing stuff and some really horrible landing stuff, but everybody drives different, and that's their style. What's good for one person isn't good for the other, and being able to experience all that with all the different trucks I've driven over the years makes me appreciate the equipment that I get to work with every day. It's great stuff. I believe we were in LA, Mason, when I filled in for Cretan, and I think I rolled 6 times that weekend in an arena show.
Yep,
and I felt like a rookie.
Still have one of the main the rollover you had. I took that piece, I took it home, and I've always kept it with me because I thought
I think 6 times in one weekend in an arena show. I felt like I shouldn't even belong there. I couldn't find my way out of a wet paper bag if I wanted to.
That was Gen 3.
We had fun.
Weird.
And but no, it's been a blast, traveling the world. I got to go to Sweden and do a international show to fill in for one of Tim Mente's trucks. That was a cool experience. Never got to do that, and just being a part of the whole vibe was definitely cool. You don't get to do that on your bucket list every now and again, and I'm thankful for it all.
Sure. Before we go ahead and actually get too far into interviewing it too much, we have this one segment with our good friend Christopher Allen, and he always has a bunch of facts about our drivers. So to maybe help Dustin and I kind of catch up on some more info about you, here's a clip on what Chris had to say about you.
Hi there, Monster Truck fans. Christopher Allen, the Monster Truck Guru, is back once more for another episode of Monster Truck Fact of the Week. This entry is about a long-standing member of Raising Cane Monster Trucks, Buddy Thompkins. Hailing from Deltona, Florida, Buddy got his competitive driving debut during the 2014 season in Tampa. He started out sharing the seat of Ice Cream Man with Roy Pridgeon before going solo. After that, Buddy was tapped to drive Raising Cane when the team's founder and ringleader, J.R. McNeil, went to drive Exterminator. After stints in Stone Crusher and a one-off Monster Jam performance at Pirate's Curse in the Netherlands, Buddy was tasked to drive the radical brand new 3D Exterminator for the 2020 season on Monster Jam Stadium Tour Series Green. Unfortunately, at the first event of that year, a hard landing caused Buddy to injure his back. Buddy's fact is that in 2016, he made the Double Down Showdown field at the Monster Jam World Finals, making it to the second round. Despite not advancing very far in the bracket, Buddy still considers this appearance a highlight of his career. And that's this episode of Monster Truck Fact of the Week, fans. Please give a like to Monster Truckin' with Jim and Chris on Facebook and Instagram for loads of superb Monster Truck Show content, including all new coverage from Kansas City, courtesy of 2 Extreme Racing next week. Please like this new page for new episodes and updates, and of course, Monster Trucks Forever.
Always
Very cool, Chris. Thank you.
For sure. But kind of one of the info things he told us, and I don't think we've gotten to it just about yet, is how you actually got into the main field in World Finals. So kind of talk us through a little bit about that and how much of a big achievement and experience that must have been for you.
You know, I think we got in the main field back in 2017. Just had a great year behind the wheel of Raising Cane. You know, JR kind of let me loose, gave me the reins to do what I wanted to do and drive how I wanted to drive. And, you know, went into Atlanta. It was still questionable. It was last show of the season for first quarter and had no clue that we were going to get the invite. So we just went in there, had fun, and did the best we could do. And a few days later, after that show was ended, I think it was the last show in the Atlanta Dome there before they built a new one. They gave us a call, gave us the invite, and, you know, that's one of my highlights of my career, just being able to make the main field, knowing that I didn't do so well in 2016 for the Double Down Showdown, you know, because I'm a racer at heart and I always go out there and try my hardest to come out on top, you know. Everybody has their night, and 2016 wasn't my night, so we fell a little short in second round. Those little mind games being played, but we won't get into that stuff. But it's fun. I'm glad to be able to be a part of it and check another thing off my list, like I said. Hopefully it comes back in 2021, and if we're fortunate enough to get that invite, we're going to go have fun with it.
For sure. I know seeing you kind of come in the league there as the last bit of few people for that event, I was like, oh, wow, I really like what they're doing with the field, and I was excited to see what was going on, and definitely looked like just from the freestyle footage, you had something going on there. But kind of continuing on with this, I'm seeing all the fan questions coming in, so we're going to make sure to get in that in a little bit. But Dustin, do you have any questions for Buddy before we go on to our fans?
Well, kind of, you know, tying off of, you know, going into the World Finals and that appearance there, what have been some of the bigger highlights for your career? I know you touched base on being able to do international. We touched base on being able to do the World Finals. You know, one of the more unique elements I can think of, you know, from your career is being, you know, behind the wheel of the Gronk truck for the one-off event in Foxborough. What are some of the cooler highlights you can think of back on your career? What stuff that you think back and you're like, man, this is actually really cool. Like, this is more than just driving a big dumb truck.
Yeah, totally. I was cool to be able to do part of the Tour of Destruction for Monster Jam. And when they asked me to do the whole thing with Gronkowski, I was like, who is this guy? I actually had to get on Google and research him because I'm not a real big Patriots fan. I'm a kind of a Cowboys guy. You know, don't hate me for that, but, you know, growing up watching the Cowboys all my life. But it was super cool to be able to, you know, be a part of that and Todd LeDuc and do some of the ESPN stuff. Once again, it comes back to J.R. McNeil giving me a great piece of equipment to be able to go out there and perform like I can and make the truck hold up. It's the highest freestyle finish I've ever had. I think I got second place that weekend. But I always do good. I just got a good vibe in Gillette Stadium. You know, I went there years past with Stone Crusher. I think I made it all the way to the final round and the truck wouldn't start. You know, it's part of for the course. But other than that, you know, one of the other highlights of my career is everybody knows the famous Bigfoot. I don't care if you're 3 years old or 85 years old. Everybody knows that truck. And, you know, just to be able to say that I've driven one of their great pieces of equipment, you know, I'm super thankful for that. Great group of people to work for. You know, it's just one of those part-time things where I was filling in with them, and Larry Swim retired and they needed a couple shows filled in, and I wasn't quite back full-time yet with JR. So I took the opportunity to experience some of that stuff, and, you know, but here I am having fun with it back home, hometown, Raising Cane.
So It's always nice when things kind of come full circle. And definitely you've had some really good luck in Gillette. I can remember the last couple of times that I was up there and got to see you drive. Obviously the Gronk night was truly, kind of special. Like there was just really good vibes there. That freestyle run was pretty sweet. I'll have to send you some of the photos. You got to put some of those up on the wall. And then the year that you drove Stone Crusher up there, like you said, you put yourself in the final round. Unfortunately, the truck had some electrical gremlins and wouldn't start, but you threw down in that freestyle as well. I don't know what it is. Gillette Stadium's got good vibes with you. So kind of a different question here. Who are some of your favorite drivers to compete with? I know there's all kinds of great characters just within the Raising Cane camp, but then all the other goofballs that we get to run around with all over the country. Who are some of your favorites to compete with, whether it's, getting to drive alongside of them, go head to head with them in racing, stuff like that, or who are you loving to hang out with after the shows?
That's a tough question because this whole motorsports thing, it's really different than any other one I've been a part of. Like I said, I used to do drag racing, and with your team, you were your team. You didn't really do anything with anybody else. But the monster truck stuff, everybody's a big family. Even with us, we treated each other like brothers and sisters. But at the track, Cody Saucier, he's awesome to race with. He always pushes you and gives you great pointers. Ryan Anderson, all them guys, they do awesome stuff. They'll help you to a certain extent until you start catching on their tail, and then they back off a little bit. But they're always giving out helpful advice. Steve Sims and Brian Wright, they're great home down country boys, always cutting up, joking around. It's good stuff hanging out with them. Always laughing. Really everybody, Jimmy Creighton, the World Finals champ, I love racing him because there's nobody that tries harder than that guy, and he's always trying to be number one no matter where he is, and I love picking at him and getting under his skin just a little bit and just having fun with it,
Shout out to B Wright and Steve Sims, or which shoulder is it right here? There we go. Yeah, can't see because the logo's in there, but that's Sims and B Wright right there. Some of my favorite buddies there. I know you've come up and just hung out with us at Virginia Beach a couple of different times, just to be a part of that event. Those guys are always so much fun. I mean, I don't know who can hang out with Brian Wright and not crack a smile. Can't help it. Like, Home Dude's just one of those genuinely great people. Steve Sims, I'm thankful for basically kind of being one of the first guys to give me a shot in this industry. Goofball 16-year-old kid that he met in a pit party. All of a sudden he's offering him a position to do website design and stuff like that. So, always got plenty of love to show from Mr. Steve Sims.
All right. I know for a fact, looking at some of these comments, you looks like you upset Aaron Basil because looks like he was hoping you'd say him. Gavin Johnson tuning in. He's wondering who your favorite tech official would be. I hope that's not one-sided, but yep, some people kind of tuning in and kind of talking along with us here on that. But I guess while we go ahead and cycle off of that, I'll go ahead and move on to some of our fan questions here. And I wanted to start on a good one here. Sorry for that little bit in. One from Phil Vicinanza. I still can't say his name right. Sorry, Phil.
Nobody can.
But still, from Phil, he's wondering, what's the cooler moment in your opinion? Driving for Gronk or driving for Bigfoot?
Probably the cooler moment. Probably driving the Gronk just because of the exposure of our team got as a whole. Like I said, it was a great experience all the way around. Just the energy the whole crowd had, getting to meet the guy, super cool. Just doing all the different behind the scenes stuff that we got to do with ESPN. So the cooler moment would be Gronk, but I would say Bigfoot on top of like exposure. Like, I don't really know how to explain it, but just Bigfoot more as an achievement than the Gronk thing. I know it's all kind of like a once in a lifetime thing with the whole Gronk, but Bigfoot's still a good achievement for me, as a personal thing.
I get you. Looks like Mike Nugent wants to kind of highlight even on top of more of the Gronk stuff. I wonder if he's a fan of Gronk or something, because he's saying, how did it feel representing the greatest dynasty in sports history, the New England Patriots and Gronk in Foxborough? I mean, we kind of got how you feel about it now, but looks like Mike really wants you to kind of dive in on that.
Yeah, like I said, when they first asked me to do it, I didn't even know who the guy was. I'm like, all right, got on Google because Google knows everything pretty much. Researched who he was. And shortly after that, the body from Monster Jam showed up for the truck, and we put it on, and it looked killer. Had no idea what it was going to look like. Had no idea what I was doing at that event until I showed up there, and was told, "Hey, you got to put this body on your truck and do all this media stuff with Rob Gronkowski." You know, we did a little, play-by-play skit out in the field, and he was stoked. And just to have him get in the truck and do some stuff with him, it was cool. I mean, I appreciate the experience, hands down. It was definitely fun. It was a lot of pressure on my plate, just representing a huge brand of Monster Energy and, being his football stadium where he played at for many years, and just didn't want to let him down. At the end of my freestyle, I had to get out and do the old famous Gronk spike just to throw one more in there, but it was cool.
Very cool.
Sure. Moving on to another question here from one of our tech buddies again, Gavin Johnson. He's saying, do you have a pre-show ritual or process you go through before you get in the truck, or you just hop in and go?
That's a good question. On race day, it depends on the event, but like big shows like that, I kind of get real quiet. I get to myself. I just try to focus. When I get in the truck, it's more my ritual style. I put my belt on a certain way. I always put my right belt on first over my shoulder, then the left one, then clip them all in. And then after I get my helmet and stuff on, I put my left glove on first. Don't know why, but it's just always been a thing I did from drag racing all into this truck stuff. I just make sure I do everything the same way. That's just a thing that some guys do, some guys don't. I have the same pair of socks that I wear every time I drive, weird stuff like that. But it doesn't mean anything, but that's just what makes us comfortable.
Right,
it's
right.
weird how we all kind of end up with our own like little idiosyncrasies. Mason, I don't know if you've got anything that you do going into an event, but for me, the last couple of years when I was calling shows, our boy Eric Lloyd Johnson, he gave me a goofy shirt to wear that he had gotten a copy of from his mom. His mom found. So anybody that's seen it, it's the Square Dancing shirt. It's a long sleeve black polo that's got some roses on it. It makes me look like I'm out of Smokey and the Bandit. Lloyd and I both have our own shirts that we wear, and then I've got my Camel Mud Monsters hat that I throw on, and it's kind of weirdly become like my comfort zone whenever I'm going and doing a show with Monster Jam. And anytime that I didn't have it, I know I did Philly last year, and it was different from my tour. I didn't have all my stuff to wear, and it felt so like I almost felt naked without it. I still had the hat, but I didn't have the shirt. And it did throw like a weird mojo to me because I'm like, I don't have what I'm used to at this point. So it's weird. Like, I guess there are certain, some people have their rituals. I never really saw myself as being a ritual person going into an event. And then I found myself being that way and like, oh crap, I don't have this thing. And now I feel weird.
Luckily for me, I've never had to have some sort of special ritual, I guess you could say. I'm not really a driver. I still like to give some pointers to my whoever's driving, whether that be like, especially Austin, because him and we kind of clash together pretty well. Usually before he gets in a truck, I tell him, it's like, if you're going to break it, at least make it look cool. Otherwise, go out there and have fun, stuff like that. And that's about it. But, I mean, there was that one time during some of this tour, especially leading up to Austin doing its backflip, I was wearing a special red underwear because I don't know, it seemed whenever I wore it seemed just work pretty well. But as we kind of move on and talk a little bit less about our special rituals and cool stuff we can go over, we have one from Gavin again, kind of switching it up on us, and he's now wondering for you, buddy, what is your biggest oh shit moment in a truck? Okay, that's adding another one to the swear jar, but yeah.
Probably my first attempt at a backflip in Jacksonville, I believe. Don't quote me on this. I think it was 2015, maybe 16. Just everybody's made it sound so simple, and my brain was working faster than the truck was, and I hit the brakes way too soon. And when I came down, took off the front of the truck pretty good, collapsed it down. That's probably one of the greatest oh crap moments you could say. But other than that, I mean, these trucks are so safe. It's very rare things happen, but when they do, it's it's part of the course. It's gonna happen. But other than that, it's all fun. You get out and smile and be like, damn, what was I thinking when I did that? It's not really an oh crap moment.
All right. Here's one from Sam Hollander, and he's wondering for you, what is your favorite place to perform at?
I didn't get that question. You cut out there for a second.
No problem. He was wondering, what was your favorite place to perform at?
Okay. Probably, like I said, we kind of touched base on this earlier. I just always have a good time at Gillette Stadium. You know, no matter what truck I've been in, I just seem to do well there. Racing freestyle, I always, I'm right there. I'm a force to be reckoned with. I just always do well there. So I would have to say that place, just because of my history there. You know, obviously performing at World Finals in Vegas is at the top of the list because that's just the invite you get, and you got to work your tail off all year long to be able to get that invite, and so that'd be one of the other ones as well.
For sure. And kind of looking back at one of these questions before I followed up with William Kuntz's question, for you, it was, I know you kind of had your start between Ice Cream Man and then moving into Raisin Cane, and you really made that from like a pretty well-known name to like a really big competitor. So for you, what was it like kind of taking, for some, maybe a kind of a new name to basically now you're kind of up there with all the other big independents with a pretty kick-ass name?
I was super thankful, like I said, with J.R. McNeil and the Raisin Cane team to even give me the opportunity. And I had fun with the Ice Cream Man, being all the kids and enjoying their time with the truck. But when he stepped out of the Raisin Cane truck and to take over the Exterminator with our Amley Oil sponsor, I was nervous just because that was his truck that he made as a kid, kind of growing up in the mud hole. And that's what he was known for. So not really knowing JR and knowing how he did things, I was nervous to be able to fill in his footsteps. And but I'm super thankful he gave me the opportunity. He gave me a great piece to work with. And we're back at it. And we got a couple things up our sleeve. Hopefully things come through with 2021 because the truck's going to look sweet.
That's pretty cool, because following up with that, we have one from William Kuntz, and he's wondering, if you could change the look of Raisin Cane, what would you do and why?
Well, there's been talks about a few things that I can't really mention right now, but if the design kind of stays the way it is, I've always taken pride in the way my truck looks and try to keep it as clean as possible. So the blue candy chassis always popped. It took many hours of cleaning. JR used to always say, do I pay you to clean the truck or do I pay you to drive it? Because it seemed like that's all I did was clean it. But, I would love to kind of like invert the colors of it and make a white chassis with that candy blue body. That's just kind of something I've always kept to myself and thought about it. But we got a couple other things. Hopefully they come through and it's going to change the whole look of the truck, and it's going to be sweet. I'm hoping it all comes together.
I've always really liked the kind of simple nature, if you will, of the Raisin Cane scheme, especially when it moved to the newer Dodge body. I always liked that. I always liked it was kind of it almost reminded me of a throwback truck, if you will. Like, you look back at some of the classic designs from the late 80s to you kind of bring that forward and you've got kind of a unique look because yes, there are a lot of crazy, flashy bodies, out there. I mean, you look just within the camp, you've got, some really unique stuff with Exterminator, Wolf's Head, and Ice Cream Man. But sometimes there is something really cool about just a simple, straight up, pure monster truck body. Something that's real simple, name on the side, some cool graphics. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm an old school dork, but I always have really had a soft spot for Raisin Cane.
It's definitely a clean piece. It's basic, but it's not. It's just enough to be stand out, and it actually looks good right now with the black chassis and everything with the blue accents. It still looks pretty clean. I'm liking it. It's not the same Raisin Cane chassis that I was driving. It's still a Patrick truck. They're almost identical to the same old truck I drive. Kristen Hope drives the Wolfhead truck. Her body is actually the one on my old Raisin Cane chassis. But like I said, they all handle about the same, and I'm going to stick with this one. And hopefully, like I said, these new changes can come along, and it's definitely going to be a wow factor for people.
All right. One second right here. Well, William Kuntz apparently seems to have added another question in here, and a few people saying it seems a little controversial. I mean, according to him, this is the story he's saying, and he was wondering, how about the weekend in Ocala where we took apart all four corners of the truck just to find out the transfer case was the issue and not a broken axle in the 110 Florida heat in the middle of summer? Gotta love it. Got a little, maybe a more insight on that?
I mean, if you want to play monster trucks, you got to deal with the consequences. Some people stand behind their product a little stronger than others. You live and learn. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to get at with that whole question or anything, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I have no idea how if that was just kind of bringing back on a story, if maybe some hurt feelings, but yeah, that was. I just want to make sure kind of highlight that after looking through some of the comments on here. We have one from Lee Plato, and he's wondering, do you have any more plans to play with the mini monster trucks?
It was kind of short-lived there. My kid got the opportunity to drive one. I don't know exactly what happened with the owner of the truck. I know Matt Pagliarulo is kind of taking him over with his kids, which is super cool. That's a great family. Their whole operation is diehard Monster Jam fans, from fan base to drivers now. Nick has stepped up and becoming one of the forces to be reckoned with. And Matt, he's always got some crazy stuff up his sleeve with the Jester truck and the jokes that they come up with. But like I said, they've kind of taken that over with their daughter Brooke and Michael that's growing up, which is cool. If it happens, it happens. My kid loves the sport. I'm not going to try to force it on him. He's into athletic stuff right now, playing football and soccer and stuff like that. But if he wants to get in it as he gets older, I'm definitely going to look into it.
Definitely cool to know here. Well, to switch things up on a completely different level, I know Aaron commented back, and I wanted to kind of go over this since you guys are currently getting ready for a show this weekend. And Aaron Basil commented in, and he was wondering, what was your favorite part of the day today, buddy?
Just waking up and seeing Aaron's beautiful smile, super cool guy. Actually, I don't even think he's been with our team for, I don't know, on and off now for a couple of years because he fills in for us. And I don't think I've actually ever got the pleasure to do a show and compete with Aaron. So tomorrow night's actually going to be the first time to do that. And when we make the trip over to Missouri to do Friday and Saturday night show. So I'm looking forward to that. He's driving the boss man's truck. I know what he's got to work with, so I'm not worried about it.
There you go. Let's see what else we can pull up here. This one is the one just came in from Wayne Jerky. I think I spelled that right. But you can go over it if you'd want to. But he was wondering, buddy, how is your health? That injury in Tampa looked incredibly painful. I know it was kind of a little bit of a touchy-ish subject, but I mean, it looks like you're kicking and doing better than ever. So if you're okay with that, do you mind if we maybe go over that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these trucks are super safe. When accidents happen, they happen. It's par for the course. I was filling in for J.R. McNeil in the Exterminator truck, and a bunch of little things added up to make a bad outcome, I guess. I probably should have taken the time to feel the shock set up a little bit better, but who has time to waste in a monster truck? We're at home, Tampa, Florida. Our home base for our biggest sponsor that we have, Amway Motor Oil, just debuted that brand new beautiful 3D body, and JR said, go out there, have fun, don't worry about anything. And that's what I love to do in these things, is have fun. But I just took a bad hit. I broke 2 vertebrae in my lower back. Probably one of the worst things I've ever experienced. I've never broken anything in my life. So all I wanted to do was get out of that truck and went to the hospital, but I'm all better now. Still feeling it. Probably I walk around like I'm 80 years old some mornings, but hey, got to be tough if you want to be dumb, having fun with it.
Definitely like at least the bright spirits going on with that, and to try to move off from some of those times and look back at your career back in 2017. Levi Schoens has a question. He's saying, can you talk about your 2017 for you and your thoughts on your... Okay, no, I'm not going to go over it, but you can answer if you want to. He just wants to know about your 2017 season, since that was basically your breakout year for you, and it's completely optional, but he's wondering, Hooters or JT Schmitz? I hate that question.
I've never eaten at a JT Schmitz, so I guess I'm going to be stuck with Hooters. But 2017, I think we were, me and Roy Pridgeon were on the West Coast FS1 tour, starting out in Anaheim and San Diego. It's really my first time out there on the West Coast. Beautiful, beautiful cities and stuff like that. It was cool. I came out swinging in Anaheim. I believe I was number 1 qualifier. First show out. Had a great freestyle run. Fortunately, we fell a little short in San Diego there. I remember briefly, I think it went out in qualifying and we broke a transfer case. There you go. once again. And, we were done for the show, but I loved it, just being a part of the whole thing, getting the opportunities to travel around all the different venues and meeting all the different people. And, we see so many different faces over the years and days. Hearing their stories just makes you feel so thankful, because everybody has such crazy lifestyles. We don't have time to sit back and reflect on things. But just seeing that memorabilia they bring in to the shows, it makes you feel at home no matter where you go, even though you're not. Like right now, I'm sitting in the hotel lobby, but just chatting with you guys, I feel like I'm right there.
Nice, kind of bringing back that little bit of the kind of like almost like sitting in a campfire and just talking and catching up with old friends, really. And it's kind of one of the reasons why we like kind of bringing this podcast and bringing it up, because especially during these trying times, this has been a fun little project for all of us. And as we're coming down to a few of our questions here, this is an interesting one from Gavin Johnson. He's wondering, between you and Aaron, who'd win in a foot race?
Man, I'd have to say Aaron. I'm not even going to try right now because, my athletic abilities have gone by the wayside here in the past few months with the COVID lifestyle, sitting on the couch eating donuts. But no, Aaron's a fit man, We were actually talking about earlier going on for a morning jog. It's kind of some things we do every now and again. At least I try to, not too often, but I try to get out and get my blood flowing a little bit every now and again.
Well, that's definitely nice to know. And I mean, I didn't get to see too much from Aaron in the back there, but I gotta say he does look like he's been yolking up during this downtime here. So it definitely just if I could put in like my money on either you or Aaron, it's kind of close. But just because I know Nick is watching and I know he's a fan of Aaron, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Aaron. But we can always kind of play dirty to get in the get that win there. But as we're kind of coming close to our end of our podcast here in the last 15-ish minutes, one question we like to ask our guest is, for them, what is their favorite like on the road story they like to kind of recall and tell their fans or just people in general? I know you had quite the posse in the back earlier with Jack Brown and of course Aaron. I know they're quite a riot. I've got to do one long week with Jack before, and I know he's quite a character. But do you have any fun stories you like to tell?
I mean, they're all fun in a way. When we went over to Sweden, like I did that international stuff with Tim Mente for Pirates Curse, just checking out the cities and stuff like that, touring the whole town over there on Lime scooters, and San Antonio on the Riverwalk. There's all kinds of different stories we could tell, but just hanging out with everybody and shooting the crap and having dinner, we all have different stories we can all reflect on. Me and you can reflect on LA, Mason, and talk about how I rolled 6 times over and over again and had to change a body throughout the weekend because we tore it up so much, but it's just stuff like that. Just the small stories that you can just keep bringing up and talking about over and over again. Like the beach shows in Virginia Beach, how, Steve and Brian, they just go out there and drive like madmen, like nothing cares in the world. And then after that, whatever's broke on the truck, Steve's like, whatever. And he's just over there on the grill cooking tons of steaks and pork chops, and we'll fix it another day.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get when it's a beach show weekend and the Sims boys are involved. I mean, I got Sims Jr., which side of me? I'm so terrible at the mirrored thing here, but you never know what those guys are up to. Be Right getting thrown in the mix as well, driving hooked in the last few years, man. So many fun memories there. Good memories from when we did Colorado Springs last year, buddy. That was honestly one of the most fun weekends I had all year last year. Just kind of real mellow vibe. A lot of fun being had for that being a small, really tight arena. A lot of fun to be had. I know you were rocking it out all weekend. Plenty of good stories to come from that one. If I'm not mistaken, I think I remember Cosmo getting into some shenanigans mid-show. We'll leave that one untold, but yeah, dude, like so many fun times. It's always great to kind of catch back up with everybody. And like you're saying, the campfire stories kind of vibe.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Cosmo, I don't know. Many people don't know him, but crew guys are supposed to stick around during the show, but this guy decided to go get a haircut and take the four-wheeler and drive however many blocks away on the main road to go get a haircut during the show. I think I broke a rocker arm that show. We were trying to find him to go get his parts, and he's nowhere to be found. I think he was at Great Clips or something. But, it's just stuff like that. But yeah, that was a fun weekend. That was a small, tight arena, and I think Camden Murphy, he was on fire that weekend, winning all the races. I was like, you know what, I'm going to put a stop to this guy, and I think I actually went out there and took him out one show. So it's fun, we have a blast. I just love racing with all the different competitors. Me and JR, we always go at it back and forth when we get together. Unfortunately, we don't do that many shows together, miss running with him, but when we race each other, we're always set on kill with the trucks, and we try to take each other out. It's a team rivalry between all of us, really.
Yeah, one side note we got to make for Cosmo. When you're doing a show with Cami Day, you get her to cut your hair. You don't go somewhere else. Cami Day will take care of you. Once again, for a second week in a row, shout out Cami Day.
Yeah, definitely good stuff there. But it's all, like I said, we could just come up with stories all the time and say it over and over again. There's never really a dull moment with monster trucks. I mean, the worst part is sitting in the hotel trying to go to sleep and thinking about what you got to do the next day. I mean, it's really a fun lifestyle, even though it's boring in a way. It can get old, but it's definitely fun. The fun times outweigh the bad times.
For sure. Well, we'd like to enjoyed having you here on the podcast. Looks like we've kind of reached the end of all of our questions here, but enjoyed having you on and being able to catch up with you, because again, last time I think I've really seen you was the last day in LA, and since then I've been kind of just on Instagram, just kind of scrolling and seeing what's been up with all of our catching up with drivers and whatnot. But on the subject of
Totally.
Instagram and some social media, where can all of our fans, if they haven't already followed you, where can they find you?
I mean, I'm pretty basic. I just have the Instagram stuff at Buddy Thompkins on Instagram, but be sure to check us out on all our Facebook fan pages with Raising Cane, Exterminator, Wolf's Head, FTI Truck. Give those guys a follow too. They do a better job at keeping up with all our stats and where we're going to be and what we're doing. I try to keep my Instagram more personal. I still post some of my highlights from days of missing monster trucks and racing and stuff like that, but I keep the social media stuff kind of limited, just so I try to keep my life private.
Okay. Oops, sorry about that. But well, we enjoyed having you on here, and definitely hope I can see you again at a show sometime here in a few months, or hopefully towards the end of this year, and see what's going on. But otherwise, it's been fun having you, and catch with you soon.
Perfect. Thanks for having you guys.
Of course.
Take care, buddy.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I find myself like, I don't know if you ever get hung up on words or phrases or something or another, but I always try and be conscious to not refer to Buddy as a buddy. I feel like it's kind of redundant with it being his name. But yeah, props to Buddy for coming on and joining us. Really, in my opinion, I think one of the more underrated drivers. He's sneaky good. I mean, he's definitely known as being a good driver, but Buddy really has stepped up his game over the years. He's one of those guys that is very capable of coming in and winning on the big stages, like we talked about earlier, putting Stone Crusher into the finals in Foxborough in 2018, the second place freestyle run with the Gronk truck in 2017, putting himself in the world finals. Mason's getting Sting ready over there. I'm not sure what he's got up his sleeve, but
I'm just getting our voicemail stuff ready. Sorry about that.
Oh God. So, but yeah, dude, Buddy's awesome guy. Really, really appreciate him coming on and joining us and chit-chatting with us and getting to see all the cool fan questions as well. Shout out to Gavin, our boy Doomsday. Good to see him. Haven't gotten to do many shows with him of late. I think probably the last one was All-Star last year.
Fun stuff with him, yeah. Had him on tour last year. Got to say it was a lot of fun having Gavin on, and it was a lot. It was nice to know I could kind of have a little breather in between freestyles, because I think I only did 2 shows throwing the dog bone, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go out anymore. I'm good. It's a rubber, like an inflatable bone. It's gonna go like nowhere. So Gavin actually got pretty creative with his ideas. I think he threw like giant frisbees. I know a big one was a giant tennis ball. So I appreciate him kind of taking up where I could not follow through with and getting creative with it for whenever we had Tanner behind the wheel and Mutt. But now that I have all these voicemails all set up and ready here, let's go ahead and see what people had to say today.
You have 4 new messages.
Yeah, hey, I heard the Tanner replacement wants a grinder crew shirt.
Hi, I'm calling the figure out. Why don't they talk about monster trucks in church when you're talking to Jesus Christ right on the other side of your camera there, huh? He goes by Dustin Hart, but I think he's really Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Oh, Christ, the cat's into the pantry again. I'll be right back.
Well, you go through life and you think, it's a good deal. I'm going to buy a book. 35 payments at $500 a payment. It's not really that much. Let's carry the 1, the 7, add the 9, plus the 3. I mean, yeah, the book's probably a little overpriced, but you're trying to get little Ethiopian kids some food so they can make it through life. You know, I read the book. I looked at some pictures. You know what I'm thinking? Me, smart guy now. But it really didn't help. I almost feel like that guy who was selling the books was a televangelist guy. You know, he was a guy who just wanted my money. I'm sitting there in my beanbag, naked, eating Cheetos, and the commercial comes on, buy the book. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to buy the book, and I'm going to... But I'm going to get through this okay, because I've been talking to myself, and we've really been working hard on our self-esteem, and we've got it really built up strong. I'm going to pull through this and come out okay. I love you guys.
Gentlemen, I present you the next guest of the Monster Cast. Victor, that's for the host of this side, not you. Shut up!
Machine is off.
Oh my god, that guy's the third caller. His voicemail put me in tears. I don't know what book he was talking about, but I really feel for that man. I can relate to being in a beanbag, butt naked, my control panel. I call my room and just reading and not knowing where I'm going. You know, it's kind of, you know, just in the wind. It's really peaceful, but I don't know who the last caller was. That was kind of complete bullcrap. I'm the one that's supposed to announce our next guest, not whoever that guy was. So, I mean, he tried, but, I mean, I think, I have the video right here and ready. I know I think you know him pretty well, Dustin. He's kind of like us. He kind of came up as a fan and really worked his way up there, and I like to consider him really the king of arenas. And being on tour with him last year, yeah, if you're on tour with this guy, you might as well just let him take the championship because he's going to give you a run for his money. I'm going to go ahead and let the video play now.
Leave this one alone. She can tell right away that I was bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad to the bone, I broke 1,000 hearts before I met you. I'll break 1,000 more, baby. Before I am through, I wanna be yours, baby, yours and yours alone. Beyond half, that I'm bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad, bad to the bone.
Yeah, so if you couldn't tell from all those crazy clips already who it was, it's our triple threat winner himself, Tyler Meninga. It's going to be a fun episode. Sadly, that's not going to actually be this Sunday because I'm actually going to be away this weekend. So I will go ahead and update you guys on when that episode is going to be on our pages here shortly. But yeah, we're just going to keep on following her up with greater and greater guests. Anything else you'd like to tell our fans that are still watching with us right now, Dustin?
No, man, just definitely whenever we get a set time and date for that one, you definitely want to check it out. Our boy Tyler, just the human highlight reel of monster trucks, it seems like for the last couple of years. You know, he's really been pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries. Great dude. Going to be a fun conversation. Always enjoy when I get to hang out with Tyler, whether it's talking monster trucks or talking metal. We're a couple of metal dorks. So, yeah, looking forward to it. And, yeah, looking forward to hanging out with you once again, Mason.
Yep. Well, I mean, we can always still hang out after this game or, this little episode we have going on here. I'm not sure if you have this little game called Fall Guys or you want to maybe play that maybe after this. maybe maybe Jackbox. I don't know. I'm a little
maybe
shy,
a little Tough Tracks and Chill. I don't
maybe
know.
A little Tough Tracks and Chill. Maybe. Oh wait, this episode's still going. But sorry about that. Well, we'd like to thank again our sponsors, Spur Hot Sauce. Go ahead and give them a like and contact on Facebook or Instagram. And of course, Monster Truckinator TV, the place to go on Facebook for all things new and old monster truck related. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can haggle Dustin to play Fall Guys or Jackbox or
Young man, hard man, shouting in the street, gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face, your